Hi, Lucas. Thanks for inviting me to be part of your web conference. You asked me to say a few words about myself, how we manage our host community group, why the group is important, and what are some of the challenges. Okay, so I was born in Hong Kong. I grew up in Australia, and I've now lived in the US for about 20 years. I'm a retired law professor. I started being an Airbnb host about 6 years ago, renting out spare living quarters on the ground floor of my North Beach home. I live upstairs with my dog Haley, and although the two floors are part of one home, there's a lot of privacy between me and my guests. I'm fortunate to live close to Fisherman's Wharf, which is one of the most popular tourist areas in San Francisco, where there are cable cars and seals, as well as being very close to Little Italy and Chinatown. So I'm quite a busy Airbnb host. About 5 years ago, I started Home Sharers of San Francisco, which is the very first community organization in the world to support hosts, even though at the time I didn't know we were the first. Initially, the purpose of the group was to share best practices and to share information among hosts from topics like insurance, taxes, local regulations, and where to shop for the best supplies. As the city started to legalize and regulate hosting, we became involved in fighting for fewer restrictions and a less burdensome permitting process. At the very first Airbnb Open, I was honored to receive the Community Award from Brian Chesky, the CEO of Airbnb. That was in 2014, which seems like a long time ago now. Well, San Francisco, as you know, is where Airbnb began. Like so many home sharing economy technologies, home sharing platforms like Airbnb disrupted traditional economies like hotels and real estate agencies. Add to that the fact that housing costs has become one of the biggest political issues in San Francisco. It was inevitable that Airbnb and home sharing became one of the most controversial battles in San Francisco politics. San Francisco housing costs has consistently been listed as the most expensive in the United States, with costs often rising 20% each year. Politicians found it convenient and expedient to blame Airbnb and home sharing for this rising cost, even though many studies prove that other reasons, like the lack of new construction and a huge influx of tech workers, contribute to the problem even more. This backlash against Airbnb and home sharing meant that we had to fight back. Together with other active home sharer members, we formed a political group called the Home Sharers Democratic Club, which is part of the San Francisco Democratic Party. 2 years ago, opponents of home sharing placed a ballot before the voters that would have limited home sharing to 90 days a year and give home sharing opponents greater power to sue hosts. Now, we mobilized hundreds of hosts to fight against that ballot. Airbnb spent about $10 million on the effort, and with the help of an army of hosts, we were able to defeat it. From that battle, here are 4 lessons that I learned. Number 1, organize early. Every city will have different reasons to oppose home sharing. It could be strong hotel groups, residential homeowners that oppose any kind of change, or in our case, a housing affordability problem that local politicians were eager to exploit for political gain. Whatever the reason, if you wait until there is a problem before you begin to organize, it will be too late. You need to establish a substantial voter base united behind home sharing before the opposition begins to mobilize. Number 2, meet regularly and provide value. From the start and even now, we have regular meetings every second Thursday of the month. And we make sure that members who attend get value from each meeting. People are busy and their time is precious. So we do what we can to make sure that members who attend leave the meeting feeling that they have gained some knowledge or made some friends and the time was well spent. This means that you've got to put work into each meeting, but the success of the group really depends on it. If a new member feels that she's wasted her time, she'll never come back. And if the new member had a good time and learned a lot, she will tell her friends and your membership will grow. Now, you don't have to have a meeting every month. Perhaps once every 2 months is what you can manage. But make sure that it is regular, predictable, and worthwhile. Thirdly, be independent but liaise with Airbnb. I learned early on that opponents and journalists want to portray your group as a puppet or controlled by Airbnb so that they can discredit you. That is why from the start, we made sure that we are independent. Membership was restricted so that if Airbnb employees or an employee of another short-term rental platform like HomeAway, those employees of Airbnb or HomeAway were banned from being members. We also did not accept any monetary contribution from Airbnb or any other short-term rental platform. Now, as far as everyday normal operations are concerned, we are entirely independent from Airbnb. This is crucial in order to maintain your credibility. But it doesn't mean you cannot work in partnership with Airbnb on specific issues of mutual concern. As we organized to pose the ballot against home sharing, we did receive contributions from Airbnb, but that was fully and publicly disclosed according to the political ethics laws. There's no reason why your organization cannot partner with Airbnb on specific projects, but as far as the organizational structure and operation is concerned, you must maintain a wall between your organization and Airbnb. Lastly, share your stories. The most powerful weapon we have as hosts is the stories we tell about how home sharing has changed our lives. Most hosts don't think that their stories are worth telling, but many have moved me to tears. Encourage each other to tell your stories and then record them. We're very lucky to have a member who likes to make videos, and he did a great job making video for us. But there are other narrative forms. Find one that best suits you and reach out to your community. I will forward to Lucas the link to our video as an example of what is possible. Good luck, and see you at the next Airbnb Open.